Save tomorrow night for the rare.
You wouldn't pull my leg, oh no.
And the reckless.
I don't think she was ever really satisfied.
For legacies.
The details on this are just really great.
And legends.
She was pathologically optimistic.
Save tomorrow night for Antiques Roadshow and American Experience, Spokane Souvenirs, and Amelia Earhart. Tomorrow, starting at 8, 7 Central on most PBS stations.
We got a view. You can have our rooms. How about that?
To experience the true Italy, one must be a little daring.
The Great Advance kicks off on August the 17th. That'll be the greatest battle in the history of the world.
Make haste. It is all going, Cranford. So, what do you think to all of that?
Go behind the scenes of Sense and Sensibility with exclusive video of the costumes, locations, and cast. Visit Masterpiece online at pbs.org. To order Sense and Sensibility on DVD, the original novel, or a special edition book featuring the complete collected works of Jane Austen, please call 1-800-255-9424. Masterpiece is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
We are PBS.
She was daring and determined, America's queen of the air.
She showed what a woman could do. She was like a rock star.
But on a stunt that would take her around the world.
It will be the first flight, if successful, which approximates the equator.
She vanished, a mystery that endures today. Amelia Earhart on American Experience.
Monday night at 9. Thank you for your generous contribution during WMHT's recent membership campaign. Please take a moment now to fulfill your pledge in the envelope you received in the mail. If you don't have your pledge form, you can mail your gift directly to WMHT, 4 Global View, Troy, New York, 12180. Thanks for being a member. Today's programming has been made possible by the members of WMHT. Thank you. And by
New York State Health Insurance Program is proud to support New York Now, Fridays at 7:30 p.m. New York State Health Insurance Program, offering New York State public employers and employees the Empire Plan, a plan as great as the Empire State.
If you're eligible for Medicare and Medicaid, then Senior Whole Health can help you stay healthy, independent, and secure. Senior Whole Health will provide all Medicare and Medicaid benefits, prescription drug coverage, and best of all, helping you with what you need.
The Living Resources story is never about what we've done in the past, but what we still need to do in the future. The Imagine This campaign is an appeal for innovative services for individuals with developmental disabilities and traumatic brain injuries. 218-0000.
Watch it, web it, win it. The 35th Great TV Auction can be previewed online at WMHT.org. Bid on thousands of items. Learn how you can receive free shipping and enter a drawing to win 2 lawn seats at Tanglewood for the sold-out July 4th James Taylor concert. Your support benefits the educational programming services of your PBS station. Thank you.
Notice how digital's made pretty much everything better, especially television. Digital TV's got better picture, better sound, more channels. In fact, digital's so much better that by law, all broadcast TV has to be digital in 2009. But there's a catch. Some TVs need an upgrade to get digital. You could even lose your signal. Get the facts. Visit dtvanswers.com to learn about television switch to digital. Or call this number to see how you can stay connected.
1 in every 6 men will get prostate cancer during his lifetime. This year alone, almost 218,000 men in the U.S. will be diagnosed with the disease. Prostate cancer is nearly 100% survivable if detected early, but most times there are no early warning signs or symptoms. I'm Benita Zahn, and on the next Health Link, find out what every man needs to know about prostate cancer, from risk factors and early detection to diagnosis and treatment. That's this week on Health Link, Tuesday night at 7:30 on WMHT.
You're watching WMHT.
Welcome to New York Learns. Today, we're looking at partnerships to close the achievement gap. I'm Lydia Kulbida, and joining me today are State Education Commissioner Richard Mills and Senior Deputy Commissioner Johanna Duncan-Poitier. Hello, Commissioner. Hello, Deputy Commissioner. Now, the Regents recently brought out their state aid proposal this week. It's a historic amount of money that you're asking for, but there are a lot of plans for it. Tell us how you plan to close the achievement gap.
Let's talk about what the gap is. It's a gap in achievement at every level. It's visible in along lines of race and poverty and ethnicity, but it's in every part of the state, and it's from pre-kindergarten all the way through college. It's the number one challenge we face. We must close that gap. The Regents have adopted a budget that includes an historic increase in foundation aid, which is really the centerpiece of the last legislative session. Provides funding for expansion of career and technical education, English language learners. About 3/4 of the new money would go to the neediest students in the state. There's much more in this budget that embodies the idea of joint venture, partnership from pre-kindergarten all the way through college.
So that's the focus. It's not K through 12, it's P through 16. Because of the global changing of the world, it's not just enough.
All the prizes go to those who have the knowledge and skill and the sheer grit to put it to work. It's not about a high school level of skill, though. It's collegiate level. And so we have, the Regents have proposed some investments to join the P16 community to recruit and prepare teachers. We're going to hear an example of that today, to connect schools and libraries and museums and to provide financial support for that, and to bring to life really powerful partnerships in the communities that need the support the most.
I think that's the most important word coming out of today's partnerships. It's going to be among parents, employers, elected leaders, educators. And yesterday, there was a second presentation by the Regents of major new initiatives to focus on closing the achievement gap. The Chancellor of the Board of Regents introduced the proposals at a news conference.
It's very clear to us, state, and many regents are directly involved, that partnerships and collaborations need to be celebrated, expanded, and created where they don't exist, because we can have a greater chance for success for our students at every level if we have them. Examples include health and mental health services in schools, early college opportunities for students that are ready for that, the alignment issue between high school graduation requirements and college admission requirements to make sure that they are understood, and that can only come through partnership discussions and meetings.
Partnership, the word again. Johanna, how are we going to achieve some of that partnership with these proposals?
Thank you. Yes, we, the Board of Regents and the Education Department have been doing a lot to close the achievement gap over time. But with these proposals, we're looking at doing even more. There are a number of them. The Commissioner just mentioned there's one on teaching, there's one called Planting the Seed, there's one called Smart Scholars. I'll take that one. The Smart Scholars program is building on the success that we have throughout the state of New York. The State University of New York, the City University of New York, and the private colleges all have early college programs. They also have dual enrollment programs. What's different about this is we're looking at students in the junior and senior years starting to take college courses, so that not only will they take a couple of courses here or there routinely, but they will be on a path to a 4-year degree. We're looking at students who are those that are the most at risk of dropping out of high school in the first place, and we're talking about them graduating early in college. These are students who people often say graduate in 5 years or 6. They're going to graduate with 3 years with this program.
So that's focusing on the students that are the highest need students. What about the highest need communities? There's this Regional Education Alliance. What can you tell me about that?
Well, you know, what's really important about that is that teachers who are always so dedicated and so committed to educating our children, they can only spend but so many hours in the classroom to really make a difference. When you have children coming to school with nutrition issues or physical problems, everything from a vision problem to true illness, let alone needs that the parents have when the children leave the school. If we're really going to make a difference, to really support close the achievement gap, we have to deal with the whole child and the whole environment in which they work. These partnership zones are really going to bring together the resources of many state agencies, many community groups, and the resources that already exist, but to bring them together, again, to help the children.
See, there are resources already on the ground in every community, but the glue money that would hold it together has been absent. We know that hundreds of millions of dollars are being spent on joint ventures of various kinds, but the state until now has not made this a major commitment to promote, to celebrate, and to focus, above all, to focus on particular outcomes, the resources that New York has.
The glue money, not that much money being spent on family and parent outreach in the overall budget, but it's something that in the end you think will pay off tremendously.
We do. It's I think self-evident when parents and schools and children work together. It's an unbeatable combination. We want the Regents want to see just over $6 million invested to encourage programs for parents so that the parent understands what the standards are all about and what children need to know and be able to do. What does the school report card really mean, and how can a parent interact productively on behalf of the child? We want to do everything we can to eliminate the barriers to success.
You're doing that on the student level by identifying those that are at risk with the new Smart Scholars problem. You're doing that on the community-wide level with the Regional Educational Alliance and also bringing the parents in as partners with the parent-family outreach. But the educators, what happens when you don't have enough teachers in these high-needs communities and in the areas that show shortages like math and science?
Well, we saw a remarkable example of this kind of leadership in Buffalo recently. A school that did not have enough math teachers, and yet Buffalo is a college town. So the superintendent invited the presidents of the surrounding universities, and they looked at how they recruit and prepare and place and retain and continue to train teachers, and they've made a system of it. Most people think that teachers are prepared in higher education. Not so. It's a partnership between schools and colleges that make it work. What we want to do is provide an incentive which would amount to $25 million over 3 years, to find and place 1,000 teachers, have commitments from them to teach in the neediest schools in the shortage subjects, math, science, and so on.
Commissioner, you brought up Buffalo. Buffalo has the second largest school district in the state. The district collaborates with a number of partners. The city's Science Museum and Zoo are both deeply committed to the schools.
The Dr. Charles R. Drew Science Magnet is one of the best examples we have of a partnership that works on behalf of our children in the Buffalo schools, working with two different institutions, the Buffalo Zoological Society and the Buffalo Museum of Science. The students are able to enter our schools at the School 90 site where they are exposed to the first joys of rolling over a log and finding what lives underneath it. The courtyard at that school has been designed by an award-winning landscape architect. It's their first outside environmental classroom. So the wonder begins in grades pre-K, K, and 1 over at that site. Then we get to move our children over here to the Science Museum. Here we have students in grades 2 through 6. We have a coordinator on the museum staff who works specifically with our students. So they have lessons that start in a classroom and roll over to an exhibit of tree frogs, or that start in a classroom and roll over to see a mummy from the period they're studying. It's a fabulous opportunity. Once they have the years here, they're able to move over to our zoo site. And what could be more wonderful for a 7th and 8th grader than to go to school on site with lions and tigers and giraffes and elephants? They have the same opportunity, classes start within their classrooms, and then we have a coordinator on the zoo staff who works with the teachers and works with the students on actually integrating the physical nature of the zoo into the work they do. So 4 grades, pre-K through 8, all the students at the Drew Science Magnet are exposed to opportunities most children in Buffalo don't have a chance to see up close and personal.
To continue talking about the partnerships in Buffalo, we welcome Dr. James Williams, Superintendent of Schools of the Buffalo City School District, and Dr. Muriel Howard, President of Buffalo State College. And that was a wonderful tape piece that we just saw, bringing together my favorite parts of the city when I lived there for 4 years. Tell us a little bit more about how this partnership came about.
Well, when I came to Buffalo in 2005, right away I recognized that higher education they were involved in the school system, but we were not connected in a seamless way to focus on what I felt were some of the major issues. So the higher ed component, they have a group, all the presidents, they meet on a regular basis. So they invited me to the meeting, and I went to the meeting with, I think, 17 college presidents. And out of that meeting came a collaboration where Dr. Howard and Sister Denise over at Deweyville College, along with myself, was given the task to come up with a solution to coordinate resources. And out of that, we developed a position to a person to work with us from the University of Buffalo to coordinate the higher ed initiatives, and that's how we got started with this P16 concept.
Commissioner, you were recently in Buffalo, and how what you saw there do you think could be replicated around the state?
What I saw there that was so impressive was a sharing of commitments. There's a recognition that the school has to make itself welcoming to student teachers. The university has to tell the school who's in the pipeline, who's about to be recruited, or who's about to begin teaching. The college has to prepare teachers with the tradecraft, the practices that really work. And there has to be a sense that in this case, we're preparing new teachers for an urban experience. And the superintendent and the president introduced me to some teachers who were absolutely splendid, and they wouldn't teach in any other place. It looks extraordinarily promising for Buffalo's future. It's a genuine partnership. It ought to be supported financially by the state.
Speaking of support, how do you support, Dr. Howard, Dr. Williams, these new teachers in their first year? Recently, there was a book written about a gentleman's experience as a first-year teacher in an urban environment, and he felt like a failure, and that he was failing his students because he felt he wasn't getting the support to be a good teacher for his students. How do you continue? You prepare them, you get them in there, and how do you continue to support them?
Well, certainly what you have to do is make sure that those individuals are mentored or coached. And by combining our resources, the public school system and the college can make sure that students receive the kind of support. It's the ideal situation when you can bring together the professor, the classroom teacher, the student teacher, and the pupils in a classroom all together to see what kind of help a teacher might have. So making sure that mentoring is available. So the college might provide advice or coaching from a professor around a particular topic or area. Or in some cases, it's best to come from other peer mentors that are employed by the Buffalo Public School System who are already teaching in that environment. So it's really trying to take the resources that we have, we plan together, and if we can identify what the challenges are for various teachers, then we can employ the appropriate intervention. And sometimes it's a college-based intervention, and sometimes it actually may be an intervention that comes from the participating school. So it's an ideal match.
And a couple of things, we have walkthroughs in Buffalo, and the college professors are part of our walkthrough teams in the Buffalo Public School System. Today we're having a staff development for all of our K-6 elementary teachers, and we have Dr. Boats, one of the reading specialists in the country, and at that training we have college professors from the Buffalo State part of the training and also helping mentor and talk to our teachers. So it's a great collaboration. It's one happy family. I use those words, and with Dr. Howard, we have a very close professional relationship to make sure that our needs are being met in the teacher ed area here in Buffalo.
Dr. Williams, Dr. Howard, thank you so much for joining us and telling us about the partnership in Buffalo, the second largest school district. And from Buffalo, we'll move now to New York City, where the Department of Education has a long tradition of working with partners. Here's a small gem of a program the Audubon Society of New York uses to bring science and writing to the urban classroom.
Good morning, Doug.
Very good, DeMar. Miss Haley and Miss Kim, they always come in very well prepared, and they always prepare us with what is going to be happening in the next lesson. So we know about a week ahead of time what will be happening so we can plan around it. They also give us a lot of resources to work with when they are not there. So that helps with the planning as well.
It makes a huge difference to come in and work with a teacher who's already excited about the program.
The mission of Audubon New York is very much connected to the mission of National Audubon.